The Tarviran Podcast is a production of the We Can Make This Work Probably network. Please check out more of our shows at www.probablywork.com.
From Eric Slater, creator of Epic Fails of History, comes a bold new vision of the future in his latest book, 2299. 2299 is a sci-fi noir about a detective on the edge of the abyss. While investigating a cold case on Vanaheim, a space station orbiting Neptune, Desmond Faust finds himself ensnared in a web of lies and murder. The closer he gets to discovering the truth, the more aware he becomes that he might not leave this place alive. Eric Slater's 2299 is available now on Amazon.
Welcome, dear friends, to the Tarviran, a Wheel of Time podcast hosted by, well, me, Bill. Join me, Bill, each week as I go through the books chapter by chapter, hopefully spoiler-free, until we uncover the full mysteries of the Wheel. Yes, hello, my wonderful, wonderful Tarvirans. Yes, welcome back to the Tarviran Podcast, a Wheel of Time podcast where we go through the Wheel of Time books, one book at a time, and I'm trying my best to keep the schedule more semi-regular. Now, again, like I said, I'm going to try at least get every 2 weeks. I think this may have been 3 weeks since my last episode. I can't quite remember. My last couple of weeks at work have been a motherload of a dumpster fire. Yeah, mother! It's been a dumpster fire. But it's I am slowly getting back on track. But I did a lot of good work for the podcast behind the scenes. I think I've been mentioning probably since we started season 2 that the YouTube channel is so far behind. I am up to date with YouTube now. Every single episode of the Tarviran Podcast is now out there on YouTube, available for your listening pleasure. Yep, I see those 4 people who listen to every episode. Thank you very much for your contribution to my life. I love you all. You are brilliant. But yes, I took quite an easy route. I used an app called Headliner, which kind of like makes the videos for you with a graphic. Really good. Way easier than what I used to do before, and pretty much the same quality. So I'm pretty pleased with that. But yeah, I set those out to release on like a daily schedule, and I think the last one came out a few days ago. So I don't feel too bad about being late. I apologise for you podcasting people, but now everyone's going to be on an even kill. I'm going to publish the podcast episodes. It's going to publish out to the world, and it will also publish out to YouTube. So you're all going to get it at the same time. No need to wait around for more Bill's madness of time. Yeah, I've come straight from the spoilers of spoilers. Do you know, I don't even know if it's a spoiler. There is a place, right? I don't think it gets mentioned until like one of the later books. This isn't really a spoiler. It's called the Isles of Madness, all right? It is vaguely mentioned like once or twice throughout the whole series. And if you look up a map of what they call Randland, you know, the Wheel of Time map, so you can see everything there is, it's kind of like it's very much Lord of the Ringsy. You know, everything takes place in one part of the world, but there is other parts of the world. And they mention this Isles of Madness. It's almost like a huge continent, like Australia type thing, where apparently men still channel or something, and just everyone there is just absolutely freaking insane. It's such a cool little thing, and it's just like come on, Brandon, Robert, I want to know more about the Isles of Madness. No, they don't really go back there. It's just like, yeah, it's a thing. There's crazy people down there. Don't fucking go down that way. It's like, all right, so no one does. It's really funny. But yeah, anyway, I'm here to talk to you this week about Chapter 18 of The Great Hunt, To the White Tower. And we've got a change of making Bill not be able to say words properly. We've got a change of perspective. Yes, we are now reading from the point of view of Egwene. It's been a little while. Been very Rand heavy at the beginning of this book, but yeah, we are now Rand's escaped that really weird place that he was in. Where he took all that acid and went on a weird trip. He's just woken up in Vegas in a car, being taken home by his dad. So yeah, good on you, Rand. You had a fun weekend. But yeah, now we're talking about Egwene. She is currently on the River Queen, which is that the same boat that Matt and Rand were on in the first book when they got all the way to Whitebridge. I think it is. I think they even mentioned the captain in this. But yeah, they were on that boat, and they're on their way to Tar Valon. And they, it starts off with Egwene. She's standing on top. She's looking at the shore as the River Queen's going down. She talks a lot about the way the wind has been blowing since they got on the ship, and the way the waters have been moving. And it's all artificial. All the Aes Sedai standing on the boat or living on the boat at the moment are pushing the boat down to Tar Valon as quickly as it could possibly go. And she talks about the sailors walking around, just looking at the water and just going, nope, not looking at that. That's not doing anything that it should be doing. And it's really funny. And then also, I like the imagery he uses as well, where he talks about there's a kid from the last town running alongside the boats, but he's slowly running out of energy and going back and back and further until he's lost into the distance. And she's basically there just watching him. And then as he goes, she's like, okay, I think we'll go downstairs and I'll have a chat with Nynaeve, because Nynaeve, oh, poor old Nynaeve, she does not like being on a boat. Oh no, she gets really, really bad seasickness, and she's having a whale of a time down there. And there's a great bit where she's just like, Egwene says, I even stopped offering Nynaeve extra food when she threw the third bowl at me. I just like the fact that it took 3 attempts. If I offered my wife some cereal, like, I don't know why I've gone for cereal. Let's say a bowl of olives. Olives is more my wife's thing. If I said, here you go, Beatrice, have some olives, all right? She went, no. I went, have some olives, Beatrice. She went, no. And then if she threw that bowl at me, I would have learnt my lesson. I wouldn't have gone back 2 more times, be like, here you go, want some more olives? She'd be like, no, get out, I'm having a divorce. If I have to throw 1 more bowl at you, do you know how expensive bowls are, Bill? They cost a lot of money when they break to replace. So get out, stop offering me olives. But all right. But they have a little chat. She's like, I think we're going to reach Tar Valon today, which is ridiculously quick. And it gets round to the point where she's talking about Anaya Sedai. And she also mentions the fact that Nynaeve never uses the prefix Sedai, which is kind of the honorific at the end of all Sedai's names, because she's always Nynaeve is fighting that authority. She thinks she's the authority. Everyone else is ridiculous. She's not going to use it. She's even planning to go to the White Tower to train so she can learn to use her powers, but she still doesn't, in her core, want to be an Aes Sedai, which is kind of cool, and I really respect her fierceness for it. Fierce is such a good word for Nynaeve. She's the most fiercest character. So good. But yeah, this Anaya Sedai, Egwene's been talking to her about her dreams, and she basically she keeps telling her, don't worry about them, they're just dreams, there's nothing in it. But she knows, Egwene's like, she knows there's something in these dreams. She knows it. And she's dreaming of a man in a mask with fiery eyes, who we know it's Beelzemon, Fuck man, he's supposed to be gone, but, he's still popping up into people's dreams. And, yeah, Nynaeve's a bit like, we should keep our distance. Don't mention the man in the mask. And even Egwene agrees with her. It's like, yeah, my gut tells me that I shouldn't mention the man in the mask. And she says, and again, I love this. It shows the mindset of the two girls between Egwene and Nynaeve. Egwene's like, I hope Rand's okay. And Nynaeve's like, I hope they're all okay. They're all my boys, because that's how she looks at them. They're part of her village. They're part of her flock. And she wants all of them to be okay. She doesn't want one of them to be out of place, feeding on some sort of electric fence somewhere, stuck on there with their wall, not being able to get off, rain's coming down. I've gone into a weird imagery place in my head there, thinking of a sheep that's lost its way from its flock. But yeah, you get the point. Egwene's obviously got a big soft spot for Rand, And Nynaeve's more like, I just want all my boys to be okay. And then, who's that knocking at the door? Who's that ringing the bell? Ha ha! You never guess who it is? It's the fucking Amyrlin Seat. Oh, I love that stuff. Yeah, so Siuan comes in. I hope I'm saying that. Suian. Siuan, I've always said. In my head, anyway. Siuan. No, in my head I say Siuan, but I think that's completely wrong. But yeah, anyway, the Amyrlin comes in and decides it's time to give the girls a lesson. And yeah, it's just like, why? Why has the Amyrlin Seat come down? And they even mention, like, she's come down here and she's come down without, is it Sherinam Sedai, the girl, the other one who's always with her, the keeper or whatever she's called. Yeah, they never are apart, but they're coming. And yeah, she comes down to teach the girls a lesson on how to use their magic. And she's even like, I hear you're quite fierce, Nynaeve. They tell me that the best comes out of you when your temper flares. And she's like, and you're so like advanced in your power that you'd probably be better off going straight in as an accepted. And she's like, some of this said, I want to keep you as a novice for a long, long time to teach you a lesson. But I say, if you've got the ability, why not? So she's already trying to be like, I'm kind of on your side here. I want to promote you quickly. You shouldn't be hanging around with novices because, quite frankly, you're going to absolutely raise hell. You're going to raise hell back in Tar Valon. So I'd rather get you up into a thing where we can keep an eye on you a bit more. And she's like, and I've been told you've got... Again, we start to learn about the Amyrlin Seat, that she was of a fisherman's stock when she grew up. And she says this great line of, you're like a fisher bird with a bone in its throat. And then Nynaeve's like, I'd love to stab you with a sword, or something along those lines. And she's like, a sword? What would a sword do? And she channels and she brings a sword out of the air. She said, a big strong man can come at you with a sword. What are you going to do? And she's like, what would you do to me? And then she decides to, and then, Nynaeve starts telling her about, she loses her temper basically. She's like, damn it, all I have to do is these really simple things. I want to do something more complicated, Light this candle, Nynaeve. Put it out, Nynaeve. Light it again. And the Amyrlin's just like, you need to build up to this sort of thing. You need to build up to this power so that you can learn to control it. You can't just go in straight away because you can burn yourself out, which will burn you off from the one power forever, and you will feel that pain if it happens. She's trying to protect Nynaeve in a way. But yeah, she uses the example of the sword, and then she holds Nynaeve in place with the air. Nothing but air, just completely there. Nynaeve cannot move. Then she lifts her into the air, which fucks her off no end. Oh yes, Nynaeve does not like being lifted into the air. Oh no, she does not. And it's almost like she's going to have her bottom spanked. And it's hilarious as well, because she's telling her, like, what would I do with a sword? There's a man running at me doing these things. But no, I could just hold him in place with the one power. And I don't even break a sweat doing it. There's nothing a man with a sword could do against me. And then all of a sudden, bang! Siuan hits the wall, or the door, whatever it is, and she's been held up against the door. And, this whole time, Egwene's been standing there going, don't lose your temper, Nynaeve. And Egwene's also been held in place, for whatever reason, Siuan's done it to the room, sort of thing, whatever she's done. And, yeah, Nynaeve has just struck out of her power. And then it's like, Siuan's really impressed. She's like, oh, yes, I've coaxed out every last drop of effort from you. Well done. And she's like, now, let's agree. Let's let each other go at the same time. Ready? And then Nynaeve's like, no, I'm not ending this. She's like, put me down now. And she's like, no, let's do it at the same time. Like, Nynaeve's like, put me down now. So, of course, the Amyrlin Seat, despite the fact she's been pinned back, which shows how powerful Nynaeve is, that she is like managed with no training, no skill, nothing. Just she's seen what she's done with this air, holding her in place. She's used it against her in a second, and he's overpowering her. But Amyrlin Seat is still the Amyrlin Seat. She cuts off Nynaeve from the source. Like that. Snap, snap, snap. Just cuts her off. And Nynaeve can't do anything. She's absolutely powerless. And she's like... And then Siuan actually gives her the speech saying, like, what I've done to you, anyone can do to you right now. But once you've come to the tower and you've been trained, not one person would be able to do this. It would take teams and teams of people to be able to cut you off from the one source. And you can see Nynaeve's like, oh my God, I can't be in a situation where I'm so powerless that I've been cut off. And it's just like real eye-opening moment for her. Then we kind of skip a little bit of time to the point where the Amyrlin leaves. Egwene's just absolutely exhausted, saying like, wow, all the other sisters have come over and trained us and it's been exhausting, but, the Amyrlin has coaxed every single last drop of effort out of me. And she's just like, she produces a tiny little flame that dances on her fingertips, which shows a bit of growth for Egwene, actually, because she's not supposed to do any type of channeling when there's not another Aes Sedai there to supervise her, because she hasn't even been accepted as a novice yet, but she's there doing it. So she is also picking up that thing where she's like, I need to do my thing. I need to break away from the chains of authority. It's really cool. I like that little dance from her. Whereas for Nynaeve, it was the exact opposite. She couldn't let go of her anger because of everything that happened, and so she couldn't really channel that well. And the Amyrlin had tried many different ways of making her angry, but because she knew she was being made to be made angry, it just wasn't really working for her. And then eventually we get to a bit more forward in time, and the ship finally arrives at Tar Valon. Yes, we have finally arrived at the White Tower. They leave the ship. Egwene and Nynaeve leave on their own. And then once they're off the ship, Sherimadai, who's the mistress of novices, comes to meet them. And she tells them that the White Tower and the shining walls that were built by Ogier hands. Of course, we've got our good old friend Ogier, and we're joining up with the teams. He's currently off with old Rand and the boy, helping the boy Rand with his work. And it's like their best work ever, some say. She also gives them the warning that quite a few novices break under the strain. Which doesn't make either woman more confident, they're still quite, oh God. But Nynaeve is also warned that the first few weeks of one being accepted is one of the hardest periods. So, they've been forewarned. This is not going to be an easy ride. You're not just going to come here, learn a few magic tricks, and then be sent off into the world. This is going to be a tough, grueling challenge. This is basically like the army for magic people, okay? Except the only magic people that there are allowed are women. So it is just like the army, but in reverse, but a bit more sexist. 10 years ago, that would probably been quite an accurate statement. But nowadays, the army is a lot less sexist, and women are allowed in. To do whatever they want to do. I literally know nothing about the army or military. I'm the worst person to comment on it. So, that's kind of just the imagery that I get into my head. But then that brings that does bring a close to the chapter. And it's pretty cool, It's cool that we got to meet the Mistress of Novices at the end, because she's a cool character. I really like Swain. I like Swain, who's the Amyrlin seat, of course, but Sheringham, the Mistress of Novices, I really like her too. But that's it for this week, guys. We're going to come back next week. We're going to talk about Beneath the Dagger, chapter 19, which is a lovely horn picture at the top of the page here that I can see. So, everybody, if you are enjoying the show and you're enjoying my mini renaissance that I've got coming back, please rate and review the podcast on any podcasting apps that you desire and use. Because that really helps. That is the ultimate thing that helps the show. You can follow Wheel of Time News if you go to hashtag the Twitter of Time on Twitter, which, given whatever your political standings, you may or may not want to do. I don't know if there's a Mastodon of Time or a Hive of Time, but wherever you want to go get your social media news, there's always great Wheel of Time content out there. No readings from Bill this week because, quite frankly, I've mentioned it's been a dumpster fire over a week for me. I just have not got time to put readings together. I do really, really apologise, but I'll come back with a double reading next week. Yes, I'll do one from this one and one from next one. Join us on the Discord. I've got a Discord. I'm gonna have to shut it down, to be honest with you, and move it over to our network's Discord. So there will be some mini changes there, but I'll make that available to people as and when I can, and I'll put the link to the new Discord, which is our podcasting network, the We Can Make This Work Probably network, Discord available in the notes. And go to probablywork.com and you can find more of our great shows there, including more shows that I'm on and more shows that other people do. Super Switch Club, great. Podcast Assemble. I'm not one of those people. I contribute occasionally, but it's really, really good show. Comic Zombie, actually, if you're into comic books, Comic Zombie is an amazing podcast. Check that stuff out. And also one of our guys, Eric Slater, he's recently actually released a light novel called 2029. Oh no, he's going to kill me. But yeah, I'll put a link to that as well. That's really good. He's done a really short story for that. He's done the audiobook himself, which I got and listened to, and it was fantastic. Really, really impressive work. You know, it's very like Blade Runner-esque. I thought it was really good stuff. But yeah, so many places you can show your love and support for the show, including YouTube. But anyway, guys, I'm going to move on now because I'm getting real dry throat. It's coming to the end of my day. And I need to go I need to go buy a Christmas tree. Damn, I've got to go down to this Christmas tree place and get a Christmas tree, put it on my shoulder and bring it home. So much stuff to do this time of year. All right, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this. I love you all. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
@ProbablyWork
For more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.